Howdy folks, my name's Don and I'd like to welcome you to another short little training video on the Homeless Management Information System. In this video we are going to discuss what we call interim reviews. They can also be similar to updates, but they deal with updating and changing some of the data that you might have in a client entry, especially the information that is in the very famous HUD verification tables. So there will be a variety of projects and programs that use interim or updates to track some of this information. There's lots of different reasons for it, and it might take a different form depending on your particular agency or project. But I would advise the same thing I do in all the videos. Sit back, watch the whole video from beginning to end and see where we're going, and then give it a try yourself. I'll be using the training site like usual, but feel free to go in the training site, try these techniques out, and then when you're comfortable, go ahead and complete them in the live site. And like always, if you have any questions or have any trouble, get a hold of us here at Neighbor Impact. As usual, I'll be using the database today in the name of Casey Managerino, the fictitious case manager that works for the fictitious agency called Cascade Area Neighbors. And we always like to make up a scenario for these training videos, so I'm going to use one today that we have a client in our rapid rehousing project who has informed me that they've had some changes in their health history and their income. And so that'll be a great thing to do on an interim review. So let's go find that client first. We're here at the home page, and of course we're just going to go to the clients module, and I'm going to look up this client, Piney Treetop. And when we go to their summary tab, you can see that they've been through a few activities in our agency, and they're currently within our rapid rehousing project. So they were enrolled on February 11th of this year, and in one of our interviews we've just learned that there's some new information. So we'll take a look at how to incorporate that into our project. So I'm going to want to go to the top of the screen to the Entry Exit tab and click up there. As you might know, I have a lot more control over my entry exit records there. I can delete them if I need to. I can edit the start date information, and I can also include exits or edit exits. Well, in this case, this person is going to be with us for this whole year. Now, as you probably know, we measured their quality of life on entry on February 11th and filled out those HUD verification tables. We're going to do that on exit as well, and it is very likely that some things will change between entry and exit about their quality of life, and that accurately gets recorded on exit. And of course, HUD and everybody who is involved with housing will track that person's quality of life changes while they're under our care or within our rapid rehousing project. But on occasion, there are going to be some updates we want to do in between those two times. So in between the start date and the exit date, we can make updates, and we call them interim reviews. So I'm going to want to go to the little paper next to that line that says interim review. And when I do, you'll notice that there's a button that says I'm going to add an interim review. Well, notice that it pops up, and since I'm working on my rapid rehousing project, it's always a good idea to make sure that it still says that there. I'm double checking that it's still HUD, and then we get a chance to pick the type. You'll notice there's a lot of different ones. Some agencies have a mandatory 6-month review. So in between entry and exit, every 6 months they're going to do a review. But you can tell there's other time periods, even as short as a 30-day review. There's some scheduled reviews. There's a whole bunch of different ones. Ours is fairly informal here at the Cascade Area Neighbors, so we're just going to call it an update. Now the date is today, the day I'm making this video, but you could change that date, as you know. Just be careful that you pay attention to the entry and exit dates of that project. The interim would have to occur in between those, of course. I'm going to go ahead and push save and continue, and you're going to see that there's a very familiar assessment that pops up. This is my opportunity to review some of this information, make sure that I'm in the right place. So I've got my rapid rehousing project, I'm doing HUD data types, I'm doing an updated interim review. There's my client's birthday. There's their relationship to the head of household. They are themselves. And here are those HUD verification tables: disability, health insurance, income, and non-cash benefits. I'm going to go ahead and start with those. So in this scenario, we're going to talk about some good news and some bad news. Good news is this client now is receiving some pension benefits. So they applied for and got some pension benefits, so that's going to add to their income. The bad news is they have been diagnosed with another disability. So we're going to have to go ahead and change those things right now. So we want to do that with the following techniques. So I'm going to come to the disability table, and you'll notice that the answer to the question is already yes, because they have another identified disability. So to add them, I like to start by clicking the magnifying glass. It gives me a chance to kind of look at the history of all the entries and any changes that have been done to a client's file. And so if I look in there, I can see that on the 21st, they had identified that they had a physical disability by saying yes, and there was no's on all the rest. Well, we're going to need to change one of those answers. They have recently been diagnosed with a chronic health condition. It's kind of related to their physical condition, but it's a new diagnosis. So you'll notice that on January 21st, the truth about this client was they did not have that health condition. Well, today on April 8th, we're going to have to change that. So we're going to have to end that no answer. So to do that, we're going to go in there and we're going to edit that no answer for chronic health condition. So to do that, edit, we click the pencil, and there's the listing of the disability, the date it started. The no now is going to end on the previous day that I'm working on the database. So just keep in mind that dates are very important in our database. So if I'm going to start a record on April 8th, I should end the previous one the day before. So there we are. We're going to put an end to this no answer. And when I do, you see it shows up here in the chart. Well, now the database might be a little confused because it doesn't know whether my client has a chronic health condition or not. So I need to add one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add it. The disability type is going to be a chronic health condition. That's going to start on April 8th. Now I don't need to make any notes about the disability. I can say that yes, it's going to impair their ability to live independently, so that, just shows that they'll need a little help. And now the determination is a yes. So remember, the database is going to look and say, oh, that no answer ended on April 7th. The new yes answer is going to start on April 8th. And when I save that, you'll notice that it is shown right here at the top of the chart. And if I exit, there's still a nice green check mark there, showing that the chart is happy with the answer. Now, if you come back and there's a red triangle there, it's probably because you forgot to change the determination to a yes. Just go back and check that, and it should make the chart happy. Okay, so here I go. I've made that change. His health insurance has not changed at all. He's still getting the same health insurance. So now we want to, go on and take a look at that income table. And so we have a few changes that I mentioned about my client's income. He has a change in his pension income. So his pension income has increased, but also recently, because of his health conditions, he has begun receiving SSDI. So we need to make those two changes as well. So I want to be cautious about changing amounts of income. It would be tempting just to go in and edit this and change this to the $1,450 that he receives now. But that would make the database think that that $1,450 started on January 21st. So we're going to use the same process we did before. We're going to end this yes answer, and we're going to start a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and go in to edit that record, and just like I did before on 0407, that's going to end. And when I say save, you'll notice that an end date pops up there. I need to now make a new income record related to pension, and it's that amount, $1,450, I believe is what I said. Now I want to make sure I answer that question right here. Is they receiving income? Yes. If I don't, the chart will show me a red triangle, and I'll have to make that change later. But let's do it all while we're here. We have now $1,450 as income, and starts on the 8th, and it is active right now. Now if you'd like, you can double check that's accurate by coming back out to the main screen and clicking this button that says View Gross Income. It should only show the $1,450 now. If for some reason it shows the original $1,100 and the new $1,450, you probably need to go back and check to make sure your dates are aligned. If you have trouble with that, hey, get in touch here at Neighbor Impact. But let's go make that other change now. Remember, my client now is going to get a little bit of help from SSDI. So same thing's going to be true on January 21st. That answer was no. And so I bet you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to edit that. I'm going to put an end date on that so that no answer will end on the 7th of April. I now need to go in and make a new one with a yes answer. So I'm going to add, that income type is going to be SSDI. Yes, he's getting that help, and now he is getting $740 a month from SSDI, and that's going to be open. It's an active source of income. I want to see that in my chart now. Now, like you could probably guess, I can double check now and view that person's gross income, and look at that, there's the addition of those two income sources. That is really going to help them as they are in our rapid rehousing project and need to make progress at paying their rent each month. So that may change a little bit of the other settings, so we want to make sure that we pay attention to area median income and any other measurements of this client's income. They are having no changes in their non-cash benefits, so they are still getting SNAP. Their current living situation is up to date, so you'll notice that they started out in a place not meant for habitation, spent some time in our emergency shelter, and then now are in their own rental. So as we come on down, we need to change that monthly income. Remember that? So let's go up. I'll double check that again. $2,190 a month. So we'll change that piece of data. Percentage of family median income is still going to be up to 30%. They're definitely below 50% in federally the federal poverty level. Is this client eligible for some benefits? Yes. Has the client applied for those benefits? Yes, they have. And are they connected with SOAR? And that is no in this case. So I've gotten to the bottom. I'm not going to edit the address in this training video, but you might want to do that on the client's main page. So now I've made a few changes to this client's record. I need to remind the database that, hey, I'm a human and I've looked at this. I'm now verifying that this new data is up to date and accurate, and it'll update all of those little rectangles in front of all the data fields, and now I can push save and exit. And you'll notice that in the interim reviews panel now we see an update. And when we return to the entry exits panel, if you look real closely for interims, you see that document now has a little 1 there. And anyone, including you, can go in there now and look, and you could take a look at that interim review after the fact and see, what has taken place there, and be able to edit it if necessary. So I hope you got some insight from this video. It's a quick little process of updating those HUD verification charts. And after you do a few entries and exits and interim reviews, you'll become an expert. And so then I'll be reaching out to you for some help. So if you have any questions or any suggestions for how we can all do our work better, please get in touch. My email will be at the end of this video.